Yesterday on the show, we talked about how Kemba Walker is out of the rotation for Tom Thibodeau's Knicks, and now there are some reports coming from Bleacher Report that the Knicks might be interested in trading Kemba to the Houston Rockets for John Wall. But before we get into these NBA trade rumors, let me know who the better player is right now. Type JW for John Wall, type KW for Kemba Walker. Get those votes in, and let's start the show. Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. We're diving into the latest New York Knicks trade rumors on today's show, a day after the Knicks had put Kemba Walker out of the rotation to go and move forward with Alec Burks and Emmanuel Quickley, as well as Derrick Rose. There are some reports from Bleacher Report that the Knicks might be looking to deal away Kemba Walker for John Wall, who has not played for the Houston Rockets this year. Let's take a look at that report from Bleacher Report. A source close to the Knicks indicated New York may also have a potential trade partner in the Houston Rockets who are eager to move John Wall. Now, as I mentioned, Wall has not played this year for the Houston Rockets. Last week, Shams Adrian Wojnarowski had reported that John Wall wanted to rejoin the Houston Rockets, but because he wasn't going to move forward as a starter for Houston with head coach Stephen Silas, they're going with more of a youth movement as they're rebuilding that franchise right now. John Wall has elected to stay away from the franchise. Last year, coming off a couple of injury-plagued seasons, namely that torn Achilles a couple of years ago, John Wall was a pretty solid player. He was relied upon to be the go-to offensive option mostly for the Houston Rockets at the guard spot, and I thought he was really able to rejuvenate and continue his career, a career that is pretty fascinating when you look back at it. Number 1 overall pick coming out of Kentucky. He was really good for a long time, made it to a couple of all-star appearances. Then the injuries started to creep upon him, but last year in 32 minutes per game, he was able to kind of display that explosiveness. He was able to display that special offensive ability. Really, I think John Wall at one point was in that category among the likes of Derrick Rose as well as Russell Westbrook's, those uber athletic, twitchy guards, and he had a little bit of that resemblance last year. Average around 21 points per game, a little under 7 assists, shot around 40% from the floor, and a little less than 32% from distance. The efficiency has always been my problem with John Wall. It's not the playmaking, it's not the athleticism. This guy can certainly still play. How efficient can he be? And is the style in which he plays with a winning formula? It might be better than Kemba Walker, and he might have more gas left in the tank than a guy like Kemba Walker. Really why Kemba was benched, in case you missed our video yesterday, breaking news style, it's the defense that's been porous for Kemba, and also he wasn't getting a lot of run in the fourth quarters. Tom Thibodeau electing to go with guys like Emmanuel Quickley, Alec Burks, and Derrick Rose late in games, and Kemba Walker was just kind of a sieve defensively. And he isn't the same offensive player that he was once with the Charlotte Hornets when he was making it to all-star games, really showing that wiggle, just an elite offensive player, but because of those knee injuries just doesn't have the same spark as an athlete on the floor. Here's the deal though, because Kemba Walker had signed that contract with New York in free agency after he had basically been traded away by the Boston Celtics, bought out by OKC, he had $17+ million upon signing, but because he signed that deal during NBA free agency, he cannot be traded until December 15th. And with December right around the corner, that's when a trade would be able to take place in a couple of weeks. And if a trade goes down, whether it's sending away Kemba Walker to Houston, bringing back John Wall, or any move that goes down with the New York Knicks, we have you covered here on the channel. We spoke with our folks at YouTube. They said, Chat Sports, New York Knicks Now, you are the fastest growing Knicks channel out there on YouTube. A big reason for that, we are consistent, we are entertaining, we are fun. Most importantly, we are informative. We just surpassed 3,000 subscribers. The only way we can continue to grow is if you subscribe to the channel. So hit that red subscribe button down below, and let's continue to ride and rock and roll here on New York Knicks Now. Holiday season is here. Treat yourself. Treat somebody who you care about with a fresh New York Knicks hoodie, thanks to our friends at Fanatics. This hoodie on your screen right here was $70. Now it's $35. 50% off is the easy math. I speak for a living. I'm not really good with math, but I can do that simple math because the deal is so hot, and you can cop that hoodie right now by going to chatsports.com/Knicks hoodie. You have to use that link at the bottom of your screen so that Fanatics knows that we sent you, and also so that deal applies. That link is going to be available in the description as well as the comment section of this video. We took some time looking at the numbers from John Wall last year and the numbers for Kemba Walker this year. Look, I know John Wall hasn't played this year. I'm not really worried about him staying away from the team. The Houston Rockets are rebuilding this franchise. They want to move forward with guys like Josh Christopher as well as Jalen Green. They want to see what they have with players like Christian Wood. They are rebuilding, and they want to see what they can get from some of those young assets on the roster. It really doesn't make sense for them to play John Wall, even though he's making more than $30 million per year. This is what I can say, though, and I'm pretty confident in saying it. I think John Wall is a better player than Kemba Walker. I just think that the injuries have crept up on Kemba Walker, and he's just not the same player that he once was a couple of years ago. He really fell off quickly, which is somewhat unfortunate because Kemba Walker at UConn was an excellent player, helped lead the Huskies to that national championship, had that legendary MSG Big Ten tournament run when he was crossing cats like crazy and hitting game winners. And when he came into the league, he showed that wiggle. He showed that he could be a three-level scorer, really was one of the more exciting point guards in the NBA. He's just not that anymore. The experiment seems to be over. It'd be the right move for New York to move on from him, eat some of that salary, and then if you have to take back some of that salary with John Wall, I think John Wall could be the better player for this franchise because I think his ability to get up and down the floor, his ability to play, make, and create just is a better option than Kemba Walker. As for their contract details remaining on John Wall's deal right now, the salary cap nerds are going to go crazy about this. Yes, a trade could happen because there's always salary cap gymnastics that you can make. Also, maybe Houston can buy him out so John Wall can become a free agent. Then he'd be able to sign with New York. A bunch of different options that we're talking about. But under the current construct of his deal, he's got more than $91 million left on it. It's honestly one of the worst contracts in the league, whereas Kemba Walker, $17.89 million upon signing when he inked that deal with New York in NBA free agency. So I think it's wise for Leon Rose to really sit down, speak with Tom Thibodeau, canvass the roster and canvass the NBA landscape, and look to trade Kemba Walker to a team that might absorb his salary and could maybe use him coming off the bench as a 6th, 7th, 8th man. What do you think the Knicks should do? Would you trade Kemba Walker for John Wall? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Once again, get your votes in the comment section down below. Here at Chat Sports, we're all about the audience interaction, so chime in and sound off. As for the Knicks' next 5 games, they got off to a really hot start to start this campaign. Then they cooled off a little bit. Some winnable games here on the schedule coming up over the next 5, but also some good litmus test matchups, especially tonight against the Brooklyn Nets, a battle of New York City. Then they take on the Chicago Bulls at home at Madison Square Garden. Nikola Jokic comes to town with the Denver Nuggets on the 4th. That's my sister's birthday. Happy birthday, Brooke. On the 7th, they take on the San Antonio Spurs on the road. That's a winnable game, and so too is the following day. Once again, a road matchup against the Indiana Pacers. As for how things are shaking out in the Eastern Conference standings right now and where the New York Knicks stand, it's the Nets, Bulls, Heat, Wizards and Bucks, and really everything is so closely contested in the East. I can't remember this conference being as competitive, as deep, and as talented as it is this year. And then those 6 through 10 slots, it's the Charlotte Hornets, your New York Knicks in at 7th place with an 11-9 record, Philadelphia 76ers at 11-10. They're starting to get a little bit healthier. Cavaliers have cooled off just a bit, and do not sleep on the Atlanta Hawks. New York Knicks fans know all about that from what happened in the playoffs last year in a series that was pretty highly entertaining. Do you think the Knicks will make the playoffs as we speak about the postseason? Type P for playoffs, type L for, they're going to be in the draft lottery. This team is far too talented to be in the draft lottery. I'm going to go ahead and type my P. And before we get out of here, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter at Chase_Senior. It's the same handle on Instagram as well. Love talking NBA hoops, love talking Knicks basketball. I also cover the NFL here. So hit me up with a question. You got life advice, you can hit me with that as well. And thanks for watching today's show.